President John Dramani Mahama has assured Ghanaians of his government's dedication to combating the menace of illegal mining, commonly known as Galamsey. He made this commitment during a speech at the International Workers' Day celebration in Accra on May 1, 2025. President Mahama's assurance demonstrates his administration's focus on tackling key challenges, including Galamsey, to ensure a better future for Ghanaians.
The fight against Galamsey is a complex one. And when I was vying for the presidency, I did not kid myself that when I come into office, I will win that fight in 4 months. Yet, we will not give up. Our gallant men of the armed forces and security services are up to the fight and will continue to score successes against the selfish companies and individuals who are destroying our forests and polluting our water bodies. As far as the fight against Galamsey is concerned, I say, Aluta, continua.
Joining us via Zoom is Aluta, convener of the Eco-Conscious Citizens. Good evening and welcome to News Night.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Right, this statement from the president today must be assuring that he's dedicated to the fight against illegal mining, no?
Yes, he's assured us of his dedication. It's good to hear. But we know that what is really required is the political will to deal with this canker. It's been going on for a very long time because, frankly, the political will hasn't been there. And we must say that we are a little disappointed that by now, LI 2462 has not been repealed, and we've wasted so much time campaigning for the repeal of LI 2462. A low-hanging fruit and something the president had promised he would do if the past administration hadn't done it. Sadly, it hasn't yet been done after so many months of campaigning, but we have been assured that when Parliament resumes, it will be repealed. So we are still waiting to see. We've also asked for a state of emergency because, you see, we're dealing with an existential threat. We are dealing with environmental terrorists who are poisoning our water bodies and destroying our forest reserves. And a lot of water bodies take their source from forest reserve. So if we are not able to declare a state of emergency, and His Excellency the President is Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, I am struggling to see how we are going to deal with the menace, the canker, which is poisoning Ghanaians. There's been a rise in kidney disease, maternal deaths, deformed babies. I need not go on. Food security has been compromised, and national security as well. Recently, in one of the forest reserves, 10,000 people, or I'll say terrorists, were deemed to be there. I mean, this is a very serious national security threat. Assuming they were Boko Haram or jihadists, if they can just hide in our forest reserves and we don't even know the sheer numbers, this is a very worrying development. So we are saying that in 4 months, we believe that more could have been done in the fight against this canker.
Right. So, but although the President Mahama's administration is yet to revoke the LI 2462, you would agree that the steps being taken and the arrests are in order?
Well, I mean, as I said, that's a low-hanging fruit. It hasn't been done. We had demands. Another demand was a state of emergency, which has not been declared yet. And we think it's crucial. If you are dealing with highly armed environmental terrorists, some ministers have actually described them, as we have, as environmental terrorists. How are you going to deal with them if you don't have the, well-armed persons to deal with them? We're not saying that nothing has been done, but when we look at what has been done so far, and you look at the images you are showing, what real progress has been made? If the 1,000-mile journey begins with one step, frankly, how many steps have actually been taken? We know the River Ankobra, for example, has been diverted. What is being done about it? We have the professionals who can resolve the situation. What has been done about it? We're not saying that absolutely nothing has been done, but we are saying that we need the political will to deal robustly with the problem. Recently in Kumasi, we're told about excavators which were exhibits. You could clearly see the exhibit numbers on them, a report by Erastus Asaredon. And you have, for our understanding, armed persons going there to try and take the excavators. This is completely out of order. So it doesn't look like there's been a real reset. It seems like the impunity is still taking place. We hear of forest reserves that the Forestry Commission wants to go, and they're prevented from going there, sometimes by, we are told, party members or chairmen. So it seems like the situation that was taking place under the past administration is still going on. The political will is not as strong as it should be. And we have persons on both sides of the political divide involved in this canker. And that is why it's proving so difficult to eradicate. Because in many cases, the firefighters are the arsonists.
Okay, so quickly, let me find out from you, what will be your position, and that of eco-conscious citizens should the president and his government fail to revoke the LI 2462?
I sincerely hope that it will be revoked, because if it isn't, obviously there'll be no alternative to demonstrations. But we don't want that to happen, because you see, we all want to be behind His Excellency the President. We all want to be behind him or with him in fighting this canker. It affects all of us. It's an existential threat. We will all die, regardless of the political party you belong to, if we don't arrest this canker. So we want to be fighting with him. And so what he needs to do to get everybody on board is to fulfill his promise. In opposition, he promised to repeal LI 2460, not amend it. So if Parliament resumes and that is not done, it will show bad faith. But we believe the president means well. So we are confident that should Parliament resume LI 2462, the president will keep his word and it will be revoked, not amended. And may I ask that even the past regime under whose watch this perverse piece of legislation was passed, even they were going to revoke it. So we call on His Excellency the President to do the right thing. It's a low-hanging fruit. Revoke it, get back the confidence that Ghanaians had, and then the goodwill that you have will not be dissipated. But if it seems like, say, you said one thing in opposition, and in government you are saying something else, it's not a good sign. So we appeal to you to do the right thing so that Ghanaians can wholeheartedly support the efforts. But we appeal to you to declare a state of emergency. And state of emergency does not mean go and shoot everybody inside. Of course, it doesn't mean so. We have professional armed forces. It means that they'll go to the forest reserves and water bodies fully armed with the right numbers, and they would remove all the environmental terrorists and their equipment from our forest reserves and water bodies. That is what the state of emergency means, giving them all they need, all the resources they need, and no political interference whatsoever. No political interference. It won't be a situation of they want to turn right and they'll get a phone call, don't go right, go left. No political interference whatsoever. And we will win this war against environmental terrorism. Thank you.
All right, thank you too. Mawula Sewa, she is the convener of the Eco-Conscious Citizen there, speaking to us on President Mahama reaffirming his commitment to the fight against illegal mining, popularly known as Galamsey.
2462.
Yes.
Why are you choosing the approach to amend? In October 2024, you all joined organized labor and the Galamsey coalitions all over the place, anti-Galamsey coalitions all over the place, to call for the revocation of that process. And on the 10th of October 2024, there was this document under the hand of Godfred Yeboah Dame, the Attorney General then. I read it to you. It's titled Environmental Protection Mining in Forest Reserve Revocation Instrument 2024. And it says that please find attached a copy of the Environmental Protection Mining in Forest Reserve Revocation Instrument 2024, which has been dated and signed by the Minister responsible for Environment. Kindly arrange for the instrument to be laid in Parliament in accordance with Clause 7 of Article 11 of the 1992 Constitution. And you supported this. So why, I mean, you, the NDC, supported this. Why this new, approach of amendment, which The people who called for the revocation say it's not the way to go.
We're going to stop all mining in forest reserves. We're going to stop all mining in forest reserves. We're going to stop all mining in forest reserves. We're going to stop all mining in forest reserves. Some of those trees existed when our ancestors were here. Some of those trees are 700 years old in those forest reserves. And our ancestors didn't cut them. They left it for us. And we are going to cut them. And what are we going to leave for our children? Savannah, desertification, destroyed environment. And so we must preserve the forest. Yes, it's attractive to get as much gold as we can. But that is like cutting your nose to spite your face.
NDC flag bearer John Mahama.
With the pressure from the organized labor, government has agreed to repeal that LI and replace it. And so I hope that it will be done before we come into office. If it is done, then that's it. If it's not done, when we come, we'll repeal that LI so that we can stop mining in forest reserve. As far as the fight against Galamsey is concerned, I say Aluta, continua.
Right, Awula Sewa has joined us. She is with Eco-Conscious Citizens now. I mean, that name should ring a bell when we're talking about the environment and issues regarding anti-Galamsey fight. Madam, good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm sure you've heard the president. This is not the first time he's commented on the issues of Galamsey, but as of today, he says the fight continues, although the Galamsey issue is a complex one. That's the word he used, complex. How does this sit with you?
Good evening. Thank you very much for having us. Well, I mean, I'm happy that he has said that the armed forces are able to deal with the matter. The Galamsey matter is, one can say, complex, but really it's not at all complex. What it's needed is the political will. We know that under the past administration, highly placed persons in the regime or people financing the party were allegedly involved. And that is why they were finding it very difficult to deal with the president, with their problem. The president put his presidency on the line, but things went from bad to worse. Right now, we have the current administration, when on opposition, they assured us that when they came to power, if the past administration hadn't done it, they would revoke LI 2462. Sadly, what was put before Parliament was not a revocation, but an amendment. We didn't show, I have to say, good faith. However, we've been assured that when Parliament resumes, LI 2462 will be revoked. But you see, we spent so much time campaigning. There's been a petition. There've been so many things going on for LI 2462 to be repealed, which was a low-hanging fruit. So coming back to what the president has said, we don't expect the fight to be completely over in 4 months, but we did expect the political will to deal with it and to do what had been promised whilst in opposition. And civil society really wants the revocation, not amendment. Drop LI 2462, revoke it. We want the revocation of LI 2462. We also want a state of emergency. And let me be absolutely clear, that a state of emergency doesn't mean guns blazing, going around shooting everybody inside. You know, we have the rule of law. A state of emergency means the political will is there. You give the armed forces and the Navy the mandate to go to the forest reserves and our water bodies and to remove all the environmental terrorists and their equipment. Of course, if they open fire, you return fire. Oh, absolutely, you will do that. But the aim is not to go around killing people. The aim is to stop the environmental terrorism taking place in our forest reserves and water bodies.
Right.
Other bodies.
Sorry for coming in, but how would you assess the efforts so far? Because we know that the minister in charge of lands recently talked about a number of excavators and efforts that have taken place in ridding our forests and water bodies, of these illegal miners. And we have actually seen some of these excavators recently. As of even 2 days ago, we saw that some of these bodies that have been set up to go and chase after these people came out to talk to the media to say that it is quite a serious fight, but then they are willing to keep committing their efforts to rid these places. So within the span of 4 months, some action has taken place. How would you rate that effort?
Well, some action has taken place. We don't want to be ungracious and act as if nothing has taken place. But what we are saying is that it's not sufficient. What was important to us, like e-levy, betting tax, oral, we've been able to do. What I would say is that in the case of excavators, I'm not sure if we all recall just a couple of days ago where excavators clearly marked as exhibits. You can see it's marked in red. And it was a report on Joy by our brother Erastus Sataredonko that armed persons had come to the Forestry Commission wanting to retrieve the excavators. This is worrying. This should not be taking place where there's the rule of law. Who goes and takes court exhibits? I mean, it's just unheard of. And let me add that others are also saying that the excavators, we have to know who the owners are. They should be arrested and prosecuted.
Right.
When your excavator is in a forest reserve, you know, it should be a prima facie case of a law having been broken. Just like if your car is involved in an accident, the owner of the car is traced. Right. You therefore have to find the owners of these excavators, and not just say 15 excavators have been recovered. Find the owners, prosecute them. So the owners of excavators are on notice that if your excavators are found in forest reserve, you'll be held accountable.
Okay. Well, ma'am, it's a pleasure talking to you always, and certainly, like the president said, the fight against illegal mining is Aluta continua. Thank you for your time this evening, Aula Sewa.